Hello dear gardeners and stewards of the earth. Welcome back to the Humus Heritage. Today we're exploring something that connects us across millennia, the art of healing burned soil. If you've ever faced the heartbreak of a fire sweeping through your garden or witnessed the charred aftermath of a wildfire, you understand that sinking feeling of staring at blackened earth. But here's the remarkable truth our ancestors understood. Fire, while devastating, is not the end. It's a transformation. And with ancient wisdom and a little patience, we can guide that transformation toward abundant renewal. When fire moves through soil, it doesn't just burn the surface vegetation, the damage extends far deeper than what meets the eye. Intense heat can fundamentally alter soil structure, breaking down the delicate aggregates that give healthy soil its crumbly texture. The organic matter that took years to build up vanishes in hours. Perhaps most critically, the invisible universe beneath our feet, the billions of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms that make soil truly alive, is largely destroyed. Many gardeners make the mistake of thinking they can simply sprinkle some fertilizer over the ash and call it good. After all, ash contains minerals, right? The problem is that fire-damaged soil has lost its biological machinery. Without the microbial networks that process and deliver nutrients to plants, those minerals remain largely unavailable. Worse, the soil structure has been compromised, meaning any nutrients we add can quickly leach away with the first heavy rain. The soil may also become hydrophobic, actually repelling water instead of absorbing it. This creates a vicious cycle where erosion washes away what little remains, and the site becomes increasingly barren. Our indigenous ancestors across every continent understood something profound. Fire was not an enemy, but a natural part of the landscape's breathing rhythm. Many cultures practiced controlled burning for thousands of years, then carefully tended the aftermath to ensure the land returned even more fertile than before. They didn't see the charred earth as dead, but as sleeping, waiting for the right care to awaken. Archaeological evidence from the Amazon basin reveals terra preta, or black earth, where indigenous peoples created incredibly fertile soil that remains productive today, even centuries later. These soils contain high amounts of biochar, which is basically charcoal that's been integrated into the soil matrix. Similar practices existed among indigenous peoples of North America, who used controlled burns followed by specific planting sequences that rebuilt soil health remarkably quickly. Over in Africa, traditional farmers would carefully incorporate ash from burned crop residues, understanding intuitively that this charred material held special properties for long-term soil fertility. So, what makes these ancient methods so effective? Well, they worked with nature's own regeneration patterns rather than fighting against them. These cultures noticed that certain pioneer plants would show up first after fires, that ash changed the soil in really beneficial ways, and that the sequence of recovery mattered enormously. They understood that rebuilding soil meant rebuilding life itself, not just adding more stuff to the ground. Modern soil science has, finally caught up with what traditional peoples practiced for thousands of years. When we incorporate charcoal into soil the right way, we're actually creating structures that last for centuries. Biochar's porous nature provides countless tiny habitats where beneficial microbes can colonize and thrive, protected from environmental extremes. These microscopic apartments become, bustling neighborhoods of soil life, processing nutrients and forming symbiotic relationships with plant roots. Ash itself, when properly managed, provides a quick pH boost to acidic soils and delivers essential minerals like calcium, potassium, and magnesium. However, the real magic happens when we combine this mineral input with the reintroduction of living biology. Fungal networks, particularly mycorrhizal fungi, form partnerships with plant roots that extend their reach far beyond what roots alone could access. These fungi become the internet of the soil, connecting plants in a vast underground network and facilitating nutrient exchange. Ancient farmers may not have known the Latin names for these organisms, but they certainly understood their importance, protecting fungal-rich forest soil and composted materials to reintroduce after disturbances. The symbiotic dance between plants and soil organisms creates resilience. As plants photosynthesize, they pump sugars down through their roots, feeding the microbial community. In return, those microbes break down minerals, protect against pathogens, and improve soil structure. This relationship, refined over millions of years of evolution, is what transforms lifeless mineral particles into living soil. Let's get practical. Your first priority after a fire is stabilizing the site to prevent erosion. Lay down a generous layer of weed-free straw or hay mulch across the affected area. This simple act protects the vulnerable soil surface from rain impact and wind while beginning to rebuild organic matter as it slowly decomposes. Next, prepare your biochar. Take natural hardwood charcoal and crush it into small pieces, aiming for fragments ranging from rice-sized to pea-sized. Don't apply this raw charcoal directly, as it can temporarily draw nutrients from your soil. Instead, charge it by soaking the crushed charcoal in compost tea or a diluted manure solution for at least a week. During this time, beneficial microbes colonize every pore and crevice. Once ready, work this activated biochar into the top few inches of soil. You're essentially creating permanent housing for the microbial community. Brew and apply fungal-rich compost tea regularly during the first growing season. Use non-chlorinated water and quality compost as your base, aerating it well to encourage beneficial organisms. Apply this living solution directly to the soil and around emerging plants. For soils that lost their structure, fermented clay can work wonders. Mix living clay with molasses and water, let it ferment for about a week in a breathable container, then incorporate this slurry into your soil. The fermented clay improves texture, enhances moisture retention, and attracts earthworms. Finally, choose your pioneer plants wisely. Select native species with deep root systems and, ideally, nitrogen-fixing capabilities. These early successional plants stabilize soil, begin rebuilding organic matter through their root exudates, and create conditions for more diverse plantings later. Maintain your mulch layer throughout the recovery process and, resist the urge to till. Tilling destroys the delicate fungal networks you're working so hard to re-establish. The ultimate lesson from ancient soil regeneration practices is this: adopt a regenerative mindset from the start. Build soil that's so biologically rich and structurally sound that it can weather disturbances and bounce back quickly. Create diversity in your plantings. Maintain permanent soil cover, and constantly feed the soil food web with organic matter. These principles make gardens inherently more resilient to fires, droughts, and other climate challenges. Consider implementing your own controlled composting systems that mimic natural decomposition. Create biochar during your regular gardening activities, and always keep something growing to feed the soil. When we work with these time-tested principles, we're not just gardening, we're participating in an ancient partnership between humans and the living earth. I encourage each of you to try these techniques in your own gardens, even if you haven't experienced fire damage. Understanding these regeneration principles makes you a better steward of soil health regardless of circumstance. Share your experiences in the comments below, and please subscribe to The Humus Heritage so we can continue exploring these vital connections between ancient wisdom and modern practice together. Share this guide with fellow gardeners who might benefit from these insights, and let's build a community dedicated to truly living soil.